started on my 11 by 14 inch stretch canvas here, and as you can see, the image already laid out. So if you'd like the traceable for this, it's down in the description box, as well as colors and materials. And I also have a short video on how I use wax transfer paper to transfer my images to my canvases I've done here. On my palette, I'm going to start with some phthalo blue, some violet, raw umber, burnt umber, a little bit of permanent red, some cat orange, yellow medium, and always titanium white. So I'm going to start filling in the background with a very dark color, and again with a natural or something with nature in it. I don't like permanent black. I like to make my own. So I'm going to take some raw umber. Okay, pretty good scoop of it. And let's take just a little less blue than this brown. Okay, so something kind of like this. I'll go ahead and just kind of lay that value in. Okay, so I'm going to take my number 18 angle brush and I'm going to load up this value here. Pretty strong, just kind of something like that, wiggling it, pulling through, and it gives me that nice chiseled edge on it, and I can use that just to kind of get around these really well. So just going to fill this whole background and around everything for right now. For right now, I'm going to go ahead and still use my number 18 angle brush here. So with that, I'm going to block in a general value here. I'm going to go some raw umber. Let's get a little bit of permanent red. Maybe a little raw umber into that just to darken it a bit, okay? So just a base color again. It's all about base colors before I do anything else. Okay, just want to build a launch pad for all the other colors to play off of it. Okay, and of course all this is going to be blurred out in the bokeh world, but I'm not worried about effects right now. It's just getting color up there so I can work with something. All right, I'm going to take my palette knife now. I want to make up a general orange value to block in with. I'm going to take a good scoop of orange. I want to take just a little bit of burnt umber to that, okay, just to dull that down. Okay, let's see, maybe a little bit more. Okay, maybe something like that, just a duller. Okay, I want to get a little yellow to warm that up. Okay, let's go something with this. Okay, and let's get some white. I want to lighten this up and desaturate this down just a little bit. Okay, something like this. Okay, a little bit more yellow, actually a good amount of yellow. I really want to get this kind of yellowish orange, kind of make it vibrant here, okay? What I want to do is get a little bit of burnt umber and some yellow together. Okay, just kind of something like this. And I want to take this into it. Okay, just a little bit. Let's get a little bit more of this white. Okay, I'm actually going to grab the rest of this yellow. Let's see. I'm thinking something like this. Okay, just a base, again, a base color. Okay, with my number 18 angle brush again, let's load this up. Okay, nice fall, light color here, but have some vibrance in it. Okay, really nice color. I'm going to go ahead and block in now these leaves with this value. Okay, just leaving a line here just a little bit so I don't lose my little stems here. Okay, something like that. I'm going to go ahead and clean this brush now. Now I'm going to go back to that raw umber and phthalo blue for that dark Payne's gray or made black here. Darkest piece or color in the piece. Okay, just loading up, and just want to get this little area here that I missed. Okay, some background stuff. Okay, and while I have that color on my brush, I'm going to take some titanium white now. And you can see it's a gray color, of course. Okay. But I want to go, let's see, just a little blue into that, okay? And a something, let's see, something like this, okay? Just a very, very light, muted Payne's gray, okay? And let's go ahead and fill in the rest of this background stuff right here, okay? Where these where light's going to be hitting it and showing the reflection of the leaf and all that. With a clean brush again, I'm going to go back to that value that I made here. It's nice fiery realistic orange here, and let's see, let's just fill in the rest of this here. Okay, there it is. I'm going to go ahead and clean this brush. What I want to do is take my number 8 round natural bristle brush. These hog natural bristles are excellent for bokeh and blending and giving that fuzzy out of focus look super well. These brushes will automatically do that. The key is no water at all. So I'm going to take this super dry, and what I want to do now is take this burnt umber and red together here. Okay, I want to put a little orange into that, and now I want to get some titanium white. Okay, so I'm looking for kind of this, let's see, let's maybe get a little yellow into that. Kind of this fiery color, I don't know, something kind of like this, kind of a dulled down but kind of vibrant maroon in a way, okay, sort of peachy color. And I'm just going to take a little bit of this paint on the brush. I'm just going to start working in and just doing these swirly motions. See this? I'm going to just start laying this in kind of in its general location here. Okay, just kind of like this. Okay. Just kind of starting that way, and then look on the edges here, right where that edge is, I just want to fuzz this edge out like this. See that? Okay, I'm just going to start doing these fuzzy things. I'm just going to take this value and I'm just going to work it in like this. Okay, a couple bokeh light things kind of kissing off right here. Yeah, maybe right there. See that? A couple of those. Okay, for light that's hitting it. And let's see, I'll put just kind of here and there, wherever, again, taking this dark value here that I started with and knocking it back if it's not right, and starting again or adjusting the value on top of this. And anything, anytime, you can just make however. No mistakes in this world. This is super easy and really fun and very effective. You had to watch these things kind of happen and get these to really pop here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead now. I'm going to take some more of this. Okay, I'm just going to kind of base coat with this on top of this with this fuzzy effect. Because as you know too, in the acrylic world, when you build up the layers, not only do the colors get more solid and opaque and more vibrant, but the effects, like the out of focus effect, gets stronger with each layer. So I'm going to apply this effect right now as kind of a base color for where I want bokeh stuff to be within this leaf here. And as I build up more layers and adjust the values on top of this stuff here, that value and the effect of the blurriness is going to just increase and really come together and really build up. Okay, so again, just taking that base color again, just going something like this. Okay, so Now, before I go any further here, I want to take some really dark values. So that would be our raw umber and phthalo blue together, okay? Okay, really dark, dark, dark. Okay, and I want to apply that in some areas here. There's going to be some deep shadow, just kind of doing some things here. Okay, this is also going to allow the bokeh light, when I add brighter values, to pop off of this around that and make a nice capturing kind of scene here in the piece. Okay, so let's go some more of that. And while I have this value on my brush, I'm just going to, right here, kind of go back over some of these lines. See this? I'm going to make this really fuzzy, out of focus look. Okay, see that? It just kind of fades it off and it gets it ready for other things. Okay, when I go to put more values on it. Okay, see that? Now we got this little light stuff in here. We got the darker stuff around it that I base coated with, and now I'm taking that dark and I'm making the fuzzy lines with these natural bristles right where they meet, the dark brown and this black, and I can fuzz that all out, and look at it, just comes together and makes that out of focus look really good. Okay, so I'm gonna go with that same value, that black, that I made, the black with the raw umber and the phthalo blue here. Okay, just gonna keep going with this. Okay, just gonna continue to fuzz these lines out like I said. Okay, if you got enough paint on the brush, you go a little pressure with the brush, okay, and just kind of creep the bristles over it, and it does it really good. Okay, super effective brush. These natural bristles are perfect for this out of focus stuff. Okay, you can also use a nylon brush. You can just go in there and use really light pressure and just kind of touch the canvas, just sweep it and let the color just kind of fade over, and it'll do the same thing. But the natural bristles, man, you don't even have to really try, and it's not even hard, and it just does it for you. Super awesome. Okay, so something like this, you can see getting out of focus here pretty good, starting to happen. Okay, something like that. And I might as well do it to this leaf here while I have this value, so I'm just going to go ahead with that phthalo blue and raw umber. Okay, just kind of, again, I'm just going here. Okay, so that dark value up on here, I'll just kind of run it in a little bit, see that? I know it looks like I'm kind of burying it, but in a way I kind of am, because bokeh means things get kind of swallowed up as they blend into one another and kind of get lost into each other a little bit. And that's what gives it that out of focus look. Okay, just out in the distance. All right, so what I'd like to do now is I'm going to take a little bit more of that raw umber, a little bit of this red, some orange, okay, maybe a little bit of this orange here. Okay, wiping a lot of that paint off the brush. I want just mostly white. Okay, something like that. I don't want to go too bright right away because I want to build up the layers as they progress, or it's going to look like something was rushed, or like it's just kind of like a bunch of light values that were thrown somewhere and we're like, what's that? Instead of it naturally coming together and building up gradually to give it that natural look and all that wonderful light. Okay, so just a little bit of paint on the brush, that lighter value. And as you can see, very, very light pressure, and I can get these nice fuzzy edges here and get this nice bokeh light to show up right there on the leaf. See that? And that makes it totally look like it's out of focus now. And I'll hit some of this light value in here with some of these. Okay, but I don't want to cover the whole thing up because I want differences in here. Sometimes it's brighter, sometimes it's more faded. And that's what it's all about in the bokeh world, just playing these values in. Okay, so just wherever. There's no right or wrong. Put these however follow me to a T or whatever you want to do and cover it up if it's not right. If it gets too big, you can take a value and shrink it by covering some of it up. Okay, with the other value instead. All good. All right, so something like this. Okay, and as I do this, I don't want to cover everything up, of course. You can see I'm leaving some of it. And as paint runs off the brush from when I initially started, it'll actually change the value a little bit by becoming lighter automatically. So just kind of let it do what it wants to. Leave some of this dark stuff to show through. That's your best friend. You don't ever want to get rid of all your dark. That's your shadow, that's your depth, dimension, and your ability to pop colors off of this and make that shine and that light play really happen there. Okay, you don't want to, you'll lose all that if you cover all your dark up. Yeah, as the saying goes, when everything's bright, nothing's bright. But when you have dark and bright, now you have things really being expressed to their fullness. All right, here we go with this. Up here, some of that. Okay, wherever, however, letting all these values play together. That's what it's all about, okay? And I'm gonna streak some of this lighter value right here. What the heck, okay? Ramps up that bokeh right here. Boom, just like that. And maybe bring that down a little bit more, I don't know. There we go. Okay. And let's see, what I want to do now is I want to take a little bit of this red and burnt umber together, okay? Maybe a little bit of yellow too. Just kind of warms that up. See that? Like that. Nice, warm, inviting color there. Okay, that's what I want right there. And I want to go in between some of these that I've done now, those brighter ones. See this? Really pop some glow and some shine out of here from the sun hitting it the way it does and just kind of doing all these neat things. Okay, see that next vibrant color? I have something to lay this on now, so it's really popping off of this darker stuff now. Okay, just like that. That's why I said I'm kind of bored on these first layers. It's like nothing happening yet. You're just getting it up there. It might take a bit. But I'll tell you, once you get it up there and start doing this stuff, it's on. It gets fun. And I hope you guys are having fun. Let me know in the comments how this is going. Anything that you want to see or questions or anything you're wanting to address, please drop that in the comments. Let me know. All right, I want to make this fun and enjoyable. I want you guys to pull this off and really create anything you want to be able to create. Okay, so as you can see, just mixing things together. It's really starting to happen back here, okay? So let's see, I'm gonna go ahead now without cleaning. Let's take some titanium white now. Okay, just more titanium white. And I just wanna strike just a little bit of this. See this? Not all of it. Just some light hitting it. Okay, and let's see. I want to go in some really bright places like right here. Okay, awesome, awesome. Okay, a little bit stronger in here, maybe just a little bit. See this? Okay. See, and the effects, like I said, each layer, I'm building up the layers and they just get stronger. They just get more effective this way. Okay, so that blurry out of focus effect is getting stronger here. And it's really starting to come alive because now, as you can see, you got things that are more opaque than other things, but leaving some of these things here that are not as opaque while applying the ones that are more opaque on top of more layers, it gives it that realism. That's what really takes off, and it gives that bokeh world a new level of effect. And so this is what I mean. Everything gets better. Okay, now a little bit of streaking light down this a little bit. See that? Ain't that nice? Okay. And of course, I can go lighter in some places like this, heavier like I started right there. Okay, mixing up the differences even as I apply more coats. I don't want that next coat to all be the same in every way. It just adds more dimension with more variety and things happening. Okay, that much more. All right, something like that. And now what I want to do is I want to take some of this that I made, and let's get some white to that now. Okay, and maybe some of that. There we go. All right, just a nice warm peach color, kind of like that. Okay, a little bit desaturated down just a bit, and I want to play just some of this in here. See this? Okay, just changing the value just a little bit, getting these things to kind of play in together with other things here where light's hitting. Light kind of makes different colors within one place and kind of bounces all over and does that. And so to get that realistic effect, I really want to play these different values, and I want them subtle. Of course, I don't want them, you know, all at once. Okay, I'm gonna go some more of this. I'm gonna get actually a little bit more of this orange here. Okay, there we go. I just want to pop some of this vibrant orange just a little bit. Okay, kind of like that. See that? And we have yet a different value, but subtle. Okay, not too much all at once, but just kind of getting those values played in. See that? Boom, boom. Okay, now I just want to add a little bit more of this color, maybe a little red to that. Okay, maybe a little bit of this. And I just want to add just a little bit more of that darker color on here, a little bit more saturated right here. See, because we're in the darker part of this, so maybe it's going to be a little different. Okay, like that. I don't know. Maybe just a hint. Okay, and a little bit of hint of that reddish color right here. Okay, just a little bit. And now what I'd like to do is just take some red, more red, okay? And let's add some of that in here. Okay, see that? I gotta get this reddish fall color in here. All right, so I'm gonna go a little titanium white. I just want maybe just a teeny bit of this, but mostly white. Okay, really, really bright, and very little paint on the brush again. And I just want to, let's see, very, very, very little paint on the brush. Just want to do this, okay? Another coat here, but not all of it again. Okay, something like that, and okay, so what I want to do now, I want to take some of this blue. I want to take a little bit of raw umber, not for that black, but just to dull the blue a little bit, and I want to take some white. Okay, and maybe just a teeny bit of violet. All right, violet can get kind of strong too. Okay, so I'm thinking maybe something like this. I'm going to take a lot of that paint off the brush, very little paint, and I want to go in here with that. Okay, and I want to do this little thing here with these really, really, really bright ones here. Just something really zinging off of this. Okay, just kind of something like this. Okay, I'm gonna really light this part up right here. There's light really shining and playing off of that. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take just some white, and let's see, I wanna go, wiping a lot of that paint off the brush. I wanna go right here, but I don't wanna take it all the way out and cover this faded blue stuff up. I want that there. That really produces the glow and the shine if I leave that. I just want to go this white, or this lighter value, I should say, not pure white, but it's got some of that blue in there I didn't clean. Okay, and I want to do this right here. Okay, see that really bright zinger right there, just like that. Okay, I want to do it right here too. Okay, something like that, and let's see, I want to take just a little bit of this. I want to go just a little bit more blue into that. Not much, just a teeny bit. Okay. And there we go. Perfect. Looks like this bluish light lavender, kind of almost like a periwinkle type color. All right. And I just want to get this color more out here. Really going to show this nice little glow and shine of light. That's just kind of playing off right here. Okay, something like that. And actually want to go a little bit more of this color, just a little bit. Okay, barely any. And right on the very outside right here, I want to make that color more saturated right here. Watch what happens when I do that. Just kind of gives it more light play, more shine like that. See that? I'm also going to put, well, let's see. See, I can always go more color, but too much color, and then I got to cover it up and do it again, which is fine, but just takes a little longer. So I'm just going a little bit at a time. Let's get a little bit more blue into that. See that? Just like that. And there we go. Just a little blue, and you can do so much there. Okay. And also right here, just a little bit on the outside right here. Just really ramps up the light play, how the nature is just kind of zinging in with its light. Really hitting a bright spot right here. Okay. There we go. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and clean this brush now. And one thing I'd like to do now, I'd like to take a little bit of yellow. Okay, a little bit of burnt umber to that, just to dull that down just a little bit. And now mostly titanium white. Okay, I'm looking for a dull kind of yellow kind of color. Okay, maybe a little bit more yellow, not much. Okay, something like that. And right here, I left this really bright one. I want this extremely opaque. Okay, just like this. Really bright one right here. Okay. Tap it in a little bit to fill it in. Okay, something like that. And I'm even gonna put some of that in here. Okay, just a little bit. I'm gonna place some right there, and I'm even gonna place some of that in here just to kind of show the light really bright and zinging right here. Okay, just playing this value in just a little bit like that. See that? And it just really ramps that up and lights that up. See that? Super well that way. Okay, and also something like that. Okay. All right. Now, without cleaning, just a little titanium white, and I just want to go in the middle right here, okay, for just more opaqueness, if that's a word. All right, I just really want to make this super bright, this one. Okay, like that. Okay, wiping a lot of that paint off the brush, and right here, not as opaque or not as bright, but you know what, right here, just gonna illuminate this out of here. And now what I want to do, I want to take just a little bit of red, maybe just a little bit of white, just to have this show up a little bit. Okay, just something like that. And very, very, very little pressure, or I'm sorry, paint on the brush. And I just want to go on the outside right here. Use a flat brush if you don't want to use this big bushy brush here, but I'm just going to go for it. I'm already here. And it's going to give me that nice gradient. Okay, see, like that. All right. And I'll even put some of that red over here just to kind of show it, kind of illuminating right here a little bit. Okay, boom, perfect. I love that. All right, cleaning that brush, getting that red off of there. Okay, I'm gonna take now my dry number 8 natural round bristle brush. I'm gonna take some titanium white, maybe just a little bit of this orange that was in there. Okay, not too much. Okay, just wiping a lot of that paint off the brush. Just gonna go in here and kind of do these things. Okay, just kind of like that, just kind of working this brush in some more, just kind of blending this stuff together just a little bit. Okay, just kind of something like that. See that? Just kind of glazing over some of this. Okay, now what I want to do is take a little bit more of this brown and red, maybe a little bit of white, maybe a little bit of orange. Okay, let's see, a little bit more burnt umber and white. Okay, maybe something like this, and maybe a little bit of yellow. There we go. Okay, something like that, something like this. And I just want to go around, just kind of give this a distinct kind of look here. Okay, something like that, just kind of getting this leaf kind of made up a little bit more. Okay, however, just kind of throwing stuff in there. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and clean this brush. Okay, I'm just going to go titanium white and some of this beige color that I made here. Okay, just a little bit. And I want to cover this in now. I think that's dry enough. Let's see. Let's see if it'll cover up now. If not, I'll let it dry some more, because it will. As long as it's completely dry and my brush is completely dry. Okay, and it won't pull the paint off or leave it going. Alright, let's see. There we go, something like that. Okay, super bright there. And some more of that in here. Just a little bit, and it just really ramps that up. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and leave that. I'm going to clean my brush now. Okay, now let's move on to this leaf here. I'm going to go ahead and take some orange and red together. Okay, a real nice firecracker of a value here. All right, let's get just a little bit of burnt umber into that. Not much, just to dull it back. Okay, something like that, a real nice firecracker color. And I want to go in here with this. Okay, just kind of something like this. Okay, just kind of blending that off. Let's get that out here onto here. What I want to do is I want to take a little bit of raw umber here. Okay, no cleaning. Let's get a little bit of that blue into there for that dark value. Okay, and I just want to go in here and just kind of pet over this a little bit, okay, for that bokeh effect. Let's kind of show a little shadow play in there. Let's go along here and just kind of bring that into here a little bit. I don't know. Okay. Okay, just working some darks in here a little bit, okay, to kind of surround that and contrast that out just a little bit. All right, I'm going to go ahead and clean this brush and get that dark out of there. Okay, I want to get a little yellow and orange together. And let's get a little white. Okay, I'm looking for, let's see, a little bit more, or a little red into that actually. All right, I'm looking for a vibrant striker. Okay, just something kind of playing right here. Boom. Just like that. Okay, again, my natural round bristle brush here, getting this in there super well. See that? In a blended bokeh kind of way. Okay, and let's see. I'm going to go a little bit of yellow and white now. Okay. And right here, I really want to strike it really hard right here. Watch this. Okay. A zinger here that's set apart from the rest of them. But even then, I'll strike some of that. You got to have some of that sneaking in. Okay. See that just a little bit. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and clean this brush. Now what I want to do is take a little raw umber and some phthalo blue. And I want to get some titanium white into that, okay? Just kind of something like this, a very muted down blue. And it's going to be a little bit of a bokeh kiss right here that I'll fix, or I'm sorry, I'll play around with here. Okay, something right there, and I'm just going to lay in some other things here. Let's see. I'm going to go something like this. I know there'll be something there. And let's see. I'm going to go ahead now and get some titanium white. Okay. Just a little bit, and just going to strike a little highlight there. See that? Just like this. Some of that. Okay, just something little like that. There's also going to be a striker right here. Okay, just kind of like zinging, bouncing, you know, doing its thing. Now what I want to do is I'm going to grab a little bit of burnt umber, a little bit of yellow. Okay, just a little bit of white. Looking for a light, warm kind of a brown here. Okay, something kind of like this. I'm going to go ahead and fill our bubble in right here. See this? This is going to be a blurred out bubble. Okay. And I'll go ahead and kind of do the edges here. Okay, for that bokeh effect. Okay, just like this. Okay, and what I'd like to do now is wipe a lot of that paint off the brush, and I'm going to take some of this brown and again some of that blue for that made black here. Okay, something like this. And let's see, I'm going to go kind of something like this. Okay, to get that effect going for the bubble here that's dimension. Okay, also right here where these values meet, right where they meet, I'm going to go on top of that with this right here. Okay, just kind of something like this. Getting a little shadow right there. Okay, there we go. Something kind of like that. And I don't need to clean, just gonna go to titanium white now. And let's see, a little bit of blue into that, just a little bit more blue actually. Okay, just kind of something like a Payne's gray. And right up here, another Bokeh light kissing on the bubble here. Okay, right there. Let's see, without cleaning now, I'm gonna just take some more phthalo blue into that. Let's see, a little bit more. There we go. I really want this blue. And I want to apply this right around this. See this, like that? This is really gonna ramp up some shine and some glow on this, okay? Around this too, a little bit. And let's see, I'll put some of that in here. You know, actually what I want to do, I don't have this where I want it. I actually want it over this because this is going to actually be part of the bubble. So check it out. All good. I'm just going to take some of that black with that raw umber and blue again. Okay. And I'm just going to cover this guy up. Boom. See ya. See ya. It's like it never happened. Okay. I'm going to reshape this bubble just a little bit, okay, kind of something like that. I'm going to go ahead and clean this brush now. Okay, I'm going to go back into this. And I'm just going to go right here where I want it to. And just kind of fade this off like this, see that? A little striker that's going to be happening on top of this bubble here. And let's see, I'm going to go with some raw umber, maybe some burnt umber, a little bit of titanium white. Okay, maybe, I don't know, a little bit of this in here a little bit. Okay, I don't know. Okay, wiping all that paint off the brush, I'm going to go back to that black again with that raw umber and phthalo blue. Okay, and I'm just going to go right up to here. Okay, and right here, just very, very little pressure with the brush. See this? I want to just fade this off again. Just blend it right here. Okay, because that tells us it's out of focus again when I get that blended look. Don't need to clean. I'm just going to take some more phthalo blue, a good amount. Okay, and let's get some titanium white to that. Okay, a nice blue color like that again. And I want to go right here where I wanted this to be. Okay, right off that drop there. Okay, something like that. Let's get some of that right down in here, maybe a little bit, okay? All right, now, without cleaning, I'm just gonna take some titanium white. And let's see, I'm gonna go right up here. Okay, and let's get that right here where I want it really bright. And I'm just going to take some more titanium white. Okay, once again, right here. Okay, a little zinger there, and okay, no clean. I'm just going to take a little titanium white, okay, just a teeny bit, and right here, just want to ramp it up right there, okay, just boom. Okay, just kind of something like that. And also, again, I want to take this tan color, so a little bit of yellow again, some raw umber to dull that down. Good scoop of white for that kind of yellow cream color there. Okay. And I want to go right here with that. Okay, really bright, opaque again. Okay. Something like that. And also, let's put some of that right in here. Okay. Okay. And no cleaning again. I'm going to take some red, a little bit of orange to that. Okay, just a little bit of paint. Barely any at all. And I want to go again right here, just like I did over here. I want to do that over here as well. Okay, some more of that light's playing over here. Okay, just something sort of zinging right there a bit, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and clean this brush off again. I want to go a little bit of this and a little bit of that blue, okay, that I made, but mostly white. I want to just hit some of that right here. And also again right here. Okay, let's put a little bit more of that white in here, just a little bit. I want to zing this up. Not all of them, of course, okay? If I do all of it, I lose the effectiveness of the light play. See, when I leave some of them like this and others brighter, and then I really get to take this home and... Okay, something like that. Now it looks like light really hitting in good. Okay, maybe I'll even ramp this up a bit here. All right, awesome. There it is. I want this more saturated actually, so I'm gonna go a little bit of this now with some red. Okay, a nice firecracker color again. Okay, and now just to further make that more dramatic, let's get a little bit more of red into that. And watch this, I can really make this glow kind of happen here. The way the light's kind of just playing right here. I want to go just some of this color here. Okay, just a little bit. I want to go inside of here. And of course, because it's so transparent, you can see my traceable, I can just get it from there. Okay, just gonna pet this out into this white a little bit. Okay, not too worried about how far I'm taking this down. Okay, there we go. Also right here. Okay, so leaving some of this white for that water drop effect. Okay, just gonna kind of go something like that. I'm gonna clean this brush. All right, what I want to do is start building some water stuff here in the back on this dark value that I have locked in. I want to put in just some different values to show water and reflections and all those kinds of cool things. So what I'm actually going to do now, I'm going to take my number 6 filbert brush. It's got a pretty decent edge on there, and I'm going to start working all these little things in here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some blue and some brown and some white this time. Okay, I'm looking for a very, very light muted gray, or Payne's gray, I should say. Okay, got a little bit of that blue in there. Okay, just a little bit. Okay, something like that. It's just kind of base color. I'm gonna block in some more of this right here. And so what I want to do, I want to take this up to the leaf right here. Okay, and do something like this. Start doing these things here as this brush dries out and as paint leaves the brush. I'm going to be able to do and scrub these little things in, because again, remember, we're getting bokeh out here, all detailed in here. So see all these crisp lines, and then look, if I run this out, just very little pressure, I can get those faded lines, and now we're seeing it not in focus that way, and that's all it is. Okay, and now I want to get just titanium white. Okay. And I want to go in here and really just ramp up some of this. Okay, just a little bit of paint on the brush. I just want to do something like this. I want to take now my number 2 nylon flat brush for some more precision and doing these little bubble things, or openings and breaks in the water here. So I'm going to take some phthalo blue and raw umber here. Okay, something like that. And I'm going to go in here and open up some of these. See this? Just like this. In here and kind of bokeh out this one just a little. Okay. Just a little bit more white. I really want to pop out this area right here where light's really playing. And what I'd like to do, I'm going to take a little bit of burnt umber and a little orange. Okay. Just something kind of darker. And right here, I want to go something right here. And this is not, of course, a natural bristle brush. It's a nylon brush, but I can use it and make that bokeh effect just the same. Just barely petting the canvas, okay? It requires a little bit more finesse, whereas the natural bristle brush will just do it for you. You kind of have to turn these into natural bristles by using very, very little pressure with the brush as I creep it out like this. See that? And it just gives that nice look to it, okay? Okay, and breaking up the lines, see that? Okay. Just kind of fading it like that. So we have, it looks to be, let's see, I'm going to get a little bit of raw umber to that. Okay, a little bit darker. I wanted it right here, actually. So I won't take over all this brown, but just like right there, see that? And it gives the indication of it being blended off. Okay, that helps the bokeh effect that way as well. Okay, something like that, and I've got that started there for that. Okay, so I'm going to take a little bit of this orange, actually a little of this orange here, really doesn't matter, to be honest. Okay, and I'm going to take a little bit of this burnt umber. I want it darkened down. Okay, kind of like that. Kind of an orangey brown, and I just kind of want to play this kind of right here and here. Kind of something like that. Okay, so we got ourselves a nice bubble there, and I'll go ahead and clean this brush. And I think I just, let's see, I'm just going to take some titanium white. And it's going to go something like this. Okay. Just kind of fading this up into this broken stuff here, this broken up orange stuff here. Okay. It's kind of like that. Okay. And I want to go in here and get some highlights up here. See this? Okay, so we got ourselves here a little bubble going on there. Okay, maybe a little bit of raw umber, and just gonna sort of dance some of this around just to kind of show some, I don't know, leaf texture kind of going through there a little bit. See that? All good. Just these little things. These little things, they build up and they play together and they just do it. And I love it. All right, let's put that right here. Ramps this up here. Okay, also right here again. All right, so we got ourselves a bubble there on that one. Back to my number 6 filbert brush here. And I'm gonna just start building up the layers here. I'm gonna take some of this yellow, okay, and maybe just a little bit of this orange here into it. Okay, maybe a little bit of white. All right, there we go. Something vibrant. And where light's really striking it, like right here. Boom. Perfect. Perfect, perfect color. This is exactly what I wanted right here. Okay, I'm just gonna start barely any pressure. See that? I can creep that up, and then right here, I can creep it over. Just kind of make it blend right there. See that? Laying down just a teeny bit of paint right there and just fading off, okay? And I can always go with this color here. If I go too far with that light value and go back the other way, the same way I'm going this way, I can go that way with this value that way if I get too far over. Okay, I'm playing back and forth. It's all good. And let's see. I'm going to take this down like this. Okay, right there. Okay, so light's really playing off right there, and let's see, it's gonna play off a bit right over here. Okay, maybe a little bit of that over here, but not much. Okay, just a little bit. Just going to lightly play this on top of this base color here just to kind of show it more naturally blending. Okay. Okay. I'm going to take a little bit of raw umber and just a little bit of this orange. Okay, something like that. And this is my filbert brush again, but you can also do bokeh with this. So I'm going to go right here on the very edge and just kind of pet the canvas like this. See this? And you know what, actually, I'm going to change brushes. I want those natural bristles actually for this. Okay, so I'm going to switch now to this number 7 natural flat bristle brush. I'm going to do what I was doing with that nylon brush, but watch. It's going to be a lot better now. Let's see, I'm going to go a little bit of raw umber and phthalo blue actually for that dark value. Okay, just a little bit. Okay, wiping a lot of that paint off the brush and okay. So a little spillage, a little mess, that's okay. I'm going to take some of that raw umber and black, or sorry, phthalo blue for that black. Now I think what I want to do, I'm going to scratch in a little deal here. Okay, a little shadow there for another, whatchamacallit, a bubble here. Okay, for a leaf, that's going to be on the leaf there. I'm going to strike another shadow right here for another bubble that's going to be right here. Okay. Okay, I'll get to that. I'm going to go ahead and clean this brush. All right, I'm going to go back to my number 2 nylon flat brush here. Okay, and I'm going to go just pure titanium white now. And let's see, I want to go a striking bokeh light right up here. Okay, a solid line one this time. Okay, just kind of like that. Boom, and then right down here, I want to bury some of this shadow, but I want to go like this, okay, for another one. Okay, another one of our bubble deals here. Okay, and let's see, I'm going to go another one right here. A lot of that paint off the brush, most of it, and I just want to glaze this haze. Okay, kind of like that. See that? Just kind of ramps up the out of focus effect there. See that? Okay, just a little bit. Just, let's see, this, I'm going to take that base color here, and I want to go just a little bit of burnt umber into that. Okay, so it's darker, but just a little bit darker. Okay, just barely. And again, I want to go underneath this. Okay, and I want to go like that. And just kind of showing this, the rest of this bubble here. This is one's out of focus, okay? Okay, just gonna barely pet the canvas and bring this in. Okay, this darker value just a little bit into this orange. Just barely. Okay, and let's see, I wanna go a little bit of this and this mixed. Okay, just a little bit of paint on the brush, and I wanna put some of that paint right in here. Okay, let's put some of that in our bubble there. I'm gonna wipe most of that paint off the brush. I'm just gonna take some phthalo blue now. Okay, a little bit of white. Okay, just kind of something like that, and I just want to hit just a little bit of this blue hue, just right here. Just a little bit of it, okay? Just kind of like that. Maybe some of that in here. Just barely, okay, I don't know. Just a teeny bit. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and clean this brush with a clean number 2 flat brush and just titanium white again. I'm gonna go like this. Okay, just kind of bringing this in again. And I'm gonna strike another coat up here for these highlights just to make them show up some more. See that? All right, just like that. I'm gonna fade these off, kind of give it that bokeh look here, okay? Just a little bit. All right, there we go. Okay. Cover this back up here, make this opaque white, really bright here, okay? Okay, something like that, and let's get this in here as well. Off the brush, I just want to glaze over just some of this haze again. Okay, just like that. Okay, just kind of keeping these fuzzy lines on the outside here. See that? Okay, something of that nature there. Okay, very little paint on the brush, and I just want to put like a couple of, or maybe one that's kind of transparent right here. One thing I'd like to do is take a little bit of yellow. Okay, and let's see, just something like that. This is going to ramp up the shine and the glow here. See this? I'm going to put this yellow right here and kind of go around some of this. See that? Just kind of pops out of there super well like that. See that? One thing I'd like to do is take this vibrant orange here that I made. Okay, and just a little bit of paint on the brush, and right here I just want to go like this. Okay, that just takes that bokeh to another place here. See that? You add in these little things here. See, it just kind of glows and zings off of there. Now let's see what I want to do. I want to take just a little bit of red, okay, into some of this. Okay, and let's see, I'm gonna go all right, I'm gonna clean this brush. Now I'm gonna just take some raw umber straight up. Okay, no cleaning. And right here, like that. Okay, so a little bit more for some shadow here where this bubble is. Okay, just putting some things in. Okay, just really building this up. Okay, I want to take a little bit of this orange here, and I want to take some burnt umber, or sorry, raw umber. Okay, just a little bit of paint on the brush. I just want to give the indication that there's some stem stuff going on here. Okay, just a little bit. Just barely, barely. Okay, so I'm going to take some burnt umber here with some of this red and some orange. I'll even take some of this stuff that I made. Okay, I'm just looking for kind of a darker value here. I'm going to even get some raw umber into that. Okay, just a darker something here. Okay, maybe something like that. And I'm going to start building some shadows and kind of playing some values now on top of our base color here. And just going to start now. I want this whole thing in focus. Maybe this a little bit out of focus because it's up here with this stuff, but past this right in here, and especially our bubble right here, all in focus. I'm going to get these details popping off of this thing. Okay, and so with that, I'm just going to take again this number 6 filbert and just kind of do these shadow areas here, okay, where things generally go. Just kind of break it up as it brings it into this first coat of this more vibrant orange that I base coated with. Okay, I just want to blend this out into it. Just very, very little pressure. I'm not really bending the bristles at all. I'm just creeping them over to get it into this other value here to kind of show shadow play. Okay, natural light and shadow play transition happening. Okay, and see, more pressure with my brush. You can see I'm laying down more paint right here. Okay, I'll even turn it over when it runs out on one side. Okay, so see this? Just heavier up here, then breaks off as it comes down. Okay, like this. And of course, as always, if it goes too far or too heavy in one spot, I can just take this base color and creep it back over this darker value, just like I'm taking this value over this one. And anything at any time can be changed. Playing these back and forth. And of course, the more times you play back and forth, the more layers you're having to put down. And that means, of course, more layers is more of a better outcome. Okay, everything gets smoother, the blending gets more like it should, and it starts and stops where it should, and it's all good. Okay, so let's put some of that right here as well. Okay, see, bending the bristles now, putting more paint down. Okay, something kind of like this. Okay, very little pressure. Just blending that out, it's all good. Okay, something like that. All right, I want that to kind of play in here a little bit. All right, so just going to take this value and put it in its general locations, okay? Just kind of blending it out from where it's at as I play this around, okay? Just kind of like this. Okay, right here, there's going to be a shadow for this one right here. And of course, this is just, again, just getting these laid in where they go. Okay, I'm gonna go a little bit of raw umber now. Okay, into that same value. Okay, it's darker and okay, something like that. How about that? And with this darker value, I'm gonna hit it in some darker places, like right here. See this? Okay, where it's just gonna be more shadowed right here. There, see that? Okay, so some darker stuff there happening. Okay, a little bit in here. One thing I'd like to do is just take a little bit of red and orange together. Okay, maybe just a little white, not much. Okay, maybe something, I don't know, maybe with that value here as well too. Okay, I don't know, I'm trying something here. Let's see. I just want to put a little bit of this value maybe in here, just a little bit. Yeah, kind of add some glow and shine a little bit in there, I think. See that? Like that? Kind of add some color in there a little bit. I like that. Okay, just a real subtle little thing there. Okay, also up here. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead now and take some raw umber. Okay, maybe just a little bit of phthalo blue. Okay, just a little bit. I don't want it super, super black, you know, as dark as I can make it, but fairly dark. And right in here, I just want to do something like this and just really show the darkest part of the leaf right here. Okay, in the very center as it comes out, I'm just going to blend this out into this other lighter value that I did here. It just kind of shows some shadow and just kind of like the leaf kind of dipping in a little bit right here. Just gives it more dimension this way and 3D effect. Okay, these little things. And let's see. Okay, something like that. I'm liking that. Okay, maybe a little bit of that over here just to kind of darken it a little bit. I don't know. Okay, however. Okay, maybe I'll scratch some of that in right here. Now, I know we're waiting for this bubble here, but I want to get the rest of the leaf because I don't want to spill into this, because I'm going to really make this pop with detail, and I don't want to have to go back in and fix something, which I can, but I figure just let the mistakes happen now, like these spill-ins while they can. Okay, now after cleaning my brush, I want to take some more of that raw umber and some red. And let's see, I want to take a little bit of this orange to it. Okay, something like that. And I'm just kind of looking for this reddish hue here. See this? The orange just kind of makes it more vibrant a little bit because it is a little warmer than the red. The red's kind of a duller, but I want to get this color in here like this. Okay, just a little bit of a glow that gives the leaf here. It just really kind of brings out some illumination in this way. Okay, just little subtle things. Okay, something like that. And let's see, I want to get some of that in here. Okay, just a little bit. Yeah, just kind of want some of that reddish kind of hue in there. Just a little bit like this. Okay, maybe a little bit like this in here. Okay, just a tiny bit to kind of give it that that pop to it. Okay. And let's see, I'm going to strike a little bit of that right here. Yeah, maybe there's a little bit of it right here. I don't know. Just kind of throwing it around a little bit, okay, just for fun. I'm going to go ahead and clean that brush now. And again, it's all good because with acrylics, you know, as you know, you can cover up things if they're not right. So I say just go for it. Have some fun. See what you can make happen. Pop some things if it doesn't look right, you know, or if it's too much of something. Maybe put some dark in there if you need to contrast the bright, you know, thing that you just put down or whatever. So just kind of play this around. You've got different values in here. You've got brighter ones here, not as bright in here, and then, you know, the dark stuff. It just all comes together and does its thing. So with that, I'm going to go ahead now. I'm going to take some more of this yellow. It's got a little mix of some things in there, but it's mostly this bright color. Okay, kind of vibrant look with some of that orange value in there, which is what I want. Okay, and I'm just going to go in here and start popping some highlight stuff, areas where the light's hitting it really, really strong. So like right here. Okay, and I'll just kind of blend this off. Okay, in all directions here. All good. If it goes too far, I get the other value and blend it back over this and settle this back if it's too much. Okay, so putting a little bit more yellow on my palette so there's not much of the other stuff in there. I want a little bit of white. I just really want to ramp this up. And see, with yellow being so transparent, it's going to react a little bit with the orange through that yellow a little bit if I just put plain yellow. And it'll look like it was meant to be, and like light's really hitting it strong right here, but it's still going to give the color of the leaf that it should be. And this is just, again, another buildup of layers and how colors react with layers underneath the ones that you put on top of them to give that final color and that look that I feel like many people struggle with getting when it comes to color. Is like, how do you get a realistic, you know, color to happen and show up and all those things? And it's really a colors that are reacting with one another in layered form. Okay, putting them on top of one another and having them pop like that. Okay, so just adding some more of that on there. You can see another coat and it becomes more vibrant. Okay, each coat gets better with color, effect, and all the things. All right, so I'm going to put some of that striker color right in here. Okay, just a little bit. Okay, really ramps it up. You can see the shine kind of zinging off of that just a little bit. All right, and going to get a little bit more pigment on my brush. Let's go in here. I want to ramp this up in here. A lot of light hitting. Okay. You know, just kind of pet this off and blend it off. Okay, just kind of like this. Actually, I want to hit the whole leaf with this color, so I'm just going to fill it in solid right here around it. All right. A little spill out here, no big deal. Take a dark color, cover it right up, all good. All right, let me just going to blend this in just a little bit like this. Okay, I want to pet this off right here, not bending the bristles, just letting it scrape the canvas with the brushes, and it just blends it just like that. Okay, just sends it in there naturally instead of all of a sudden, you know. All right, a little bit more of that striking nice color right here. Okay, this is just a little yellow and just a teeny bit of white. That's it. Okay, just straight up yellow pretty much. And again, you can see the orange popping through that, and it just really brightens that up. Look at how the shine and the glow just happens right here. Super cool. All right, I'm telling you, these layers, man, they react and they allow your colors to do so many cool things when you have so many underneath it playing and just coming through with it. So cool like that. Okay. And just petting this off right here again. Boom, boom, boom. All good. Okay, now let's do a little striker right here. Okay, cover them up, knock them back if there's too much. Again, you don't want too much, because anything that's too much, again, it's like a symphony or like a band, you know, and you play in music together and you have one person trying to play their music or their instrument over everybody else instead of with everyone else. And then it becomes a real, what do you call it? A noise. It becomes a noise complaint, I guess. Nobody wants to hear the struggle. They want to hear a nice flowing band together that sounds great. Everybody's getting along. And in the same way in a painting, you want all your values playing together, getting along well, making each other pop off of one another, complimenting each other. Nobody's jealous, trying to take over. See, it really comes to life so well that way when you don't have all that crap going on and you let all the things play together very nicely. All right, so I just want to go now back to some dark values here. Let's go to some raw umber now. Okay, just straight up, I want to go a little bit darker out here. Okay, I'm just going to pet the canvas a little bit and kind of pet this in. I don't want to go too dark because I got dark right here for the background. Okay, so I'm just going to wipe most of that paint off the brush. Okay, I just want to creep in just a little bit. I don't really want to go obviously as dark as this, or it'll look like the background's coming more into the leaf instead of more shadow on the leaf. Okay, so just wiping my brush off can allow me to do this value in such a way that looks a little bit lighter than the one of the background, even though it's the same value that I'm using, just less of it, so it's more transparent and lighter on the canvas. Kind of gives that look to it. Okay, just kind of brushing this out. I don't want those hard lines. Okay, I know it's in focus, but hard lines, I mean on the outside for the object itself. But now once I'm in the object, I can do the blendings and not have the hard lines, and it doesn't look out of focus. It looks like natural shadow and light play happening. Okay, so something like that. A little shadow creeping over here because we're further from the light, I think, over in this area. Okay, I'm going to take just a teeny bit of that raw umber again. And once again, just want to lightly brush over here. I want to darken this down just a little bit. Okay, and with just a little paint on the brush, you can see the value that's down can be seen through this. Again, the layers are reacting. I'm getting to see my colors in here. Okay, a little bit more pressure with the brush, a little bit harder. You can see more paint laying down right here. I want to get a little darker in here. Okay, just kind of showing that natural shadow and kind of things happening here. With my same brush now, my number 18 nylon angle brush, I'm going to take this color here that I made, and this time I want to get some titanium white into that to really brighten that up. Okay, maybe a little bit of yellow just to give it that golden hue to it. Okay, and I'm thinking something like this. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and make these stems now with this value, so just the very tip or edge or whatever you want to use, and I'm just going to go down like this. Okay. Okay, something like that. See that? And now what I'd like to do is take a little bit of raw umber without cleaning. Okay, and right here, I want to go a line like this. See this? All right, something like that, and let's take some of that right in here. I want to start it right here because I want to do a different value up there, but down this way. Okay, just taking this line right here next to this. This is going to pop this out of here. I only want this line down here with this one. Okay, where it's in the shadow right here. Okay, because light then starts to take off and hit it, and this kind of goes away, and you won't see it as much. Okay, so there. Okay, and right here I left some open here to differentiate between this leaf and this leaf. And I'm just going to use this right here to make a shadow here. Okay, so I'm just going to go like this, a little bit heavier with the brush. You can see I'm laying more paint down, of course. And you're just going to brush this out just a little bit, just to kind of show that shadow play. All right, something like that. Okay, something like that. See that? You can do that to any degree. I can push that shadow back if it's too strong. And in fact, I'm gonna go ahead and clean this brush now. I think I may just knock that back just a bit, but I'm gonna take some of this and a little bit of burnt umber into that. Okay, so it's a little bit dulled down from there. And I'm gonna knock this shadow back just a little bit. See this? And I'm just gonna pet it up onto that dark value there to keep that shadow alive. Just a little. All right, something like that. See, and I get a better natural transition of light maybe like that. Okay, I'm gonna pick up some more of that other color, or the color that I blocked in with. And I wanna go more color over this. Okay, just a little bit. I wanna make this really subtle in here. Okay, with that shadow play. See? Anything you want to do, you can make it more dramatic, you can make it more soft, you know, settle it down a little bit if it's too much. I'm going to go over this dark shadow just a little bit more, okay, just to settle it back a bit. Okay, just so it's not so super wowed out and it's got more natural look to it. Okay, I'm going to clean this brush, and now I want to take some of this red and some of this orange and just a little bit of burnt umber to that. Okay, maybe a little yellow too to warm that just a bit. Okay, so something like this, a nice fiery kind of red color that's going to show up a little bit. And I want to finish this shadow, but I want to make it like this. See this? And I'm going to go into that brown with it. Boom, just like that, to kind of show that it transitions with some light play a little bit. Okay, kind of like that. And let's see, I'm going to get some of that in here. Okay, some of that red, it's really cool. And I'm going to pet some of this red onto the stem here just a little bit like this. Okay, just to get some of that to show up in here. Okay, lovely, lovely, lovely. I'm gonna get some of that on here as well, so it can show up a little bit more right there too. Okay, loving that. And let's get some strikers right here. I'm gonna go with my script liner brush here. And the script liner is great for doing some other stem detail things and tiny little fine lines. And I'm going to start getting detailed here before I start doing these awesome bubbles here, or water drops. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do different values. I'm going to go with this orange here that I made. Okay, let's see, a little bit more water. And let's get a little bit more orange. Let's get a little raw umber. Just a tiny little bit of raw umber, okay? Okay, pulling through as I turn it to a point. Okay, and I want to start making these little stems like this. Okay, using just the very tip of the brush again. Okay, I'm going to start making all these little nice little things here. So let's see. I would like to go what I'd like to do is take a little bit of red now actually and go into this. Okay. I want this reddish hue in the shadow area, you know, where it's dark right here. Because watch, it just does something, I think. When you kind of change the value a little bit, see that? Just go right back over this. It just really, I think it lights it up even more. And I don't want to do all of it, just some of it. I'm going to let these values play together. Okay. Okay, so my color dried up. I had to make a little bit more of this. Remember, that's a little burnt umber with just a teeny bit of orange and a lot of yellow and some white. And we get this value here. So I'm going to take, again, my script liner brush, lots of water. I'm going to pull through to a point. Okay, turning it as I pull through. Okay, loads the bristles really nice. Gives me that nice sharp edge on it and tip. And let's see, I'm going to go right here. I kind of missed this guy right here a little bit. Okay. Okay, something like that. Just getting some details up there. Okay, and I'm gonna go a little bit now of some yellow. Let's go a little white. I didn't clean my brush. Don't need to clean. Okay, let's just go a lot of water. Okay, running like ink. Really want to get this running good. Okay. Okay, pulling through to a point, and again, I want to go in here and really enhance this stem here. Okay, and I want to hit these ones right here. See this? And what I want to do now, because this one is kind of blurred out, I want to take my number 2 nylon flat brush here, and I just kind of want to scrub these out a little bit, okay, while they're still wet. Kind of give it that out of focus look. See that? Just kind of says this one is blurred out here, okay? And you can just kind of make out just some of it. Okay, maybe I'll just take a little bit more yellow and white. Okay, just a little bit, just a little bit. And again, let me go back over this. Okay, really pet this down. You can barely kind of see them now, but they're there. Okay, and also ramp up some of this glow and shine. Okay, another layer here. All right, something like that. Want to go a little bit of burnt umber, just straight up. Okay, no cleaning. Okay, my number 2 flat brush again, and I want to take and go right here. Make a little shadow underneath these little stems here. Let's get these to pop out. Okay, boom, just like that. Ain't that nice? on this leaf here, I'm going to have some, so I'm going to go into this. Okay, a little bit of white. It's okay, I got a little bit of that burnt umber on there. It's okay though. And I'm going to go up here and you can use a flat brush, as you can see here, to do these lines also. Okay, nothing saying you can't use what brush you want to use. There's no definite answer here or anything you have to do that you don't want to do. Okay, there's that. I want to take some more of this orange here, and I want to take white and yellow to that to really ramp that up and make it more vibrant. Okay, kind of like this. A nice vibrant orange. And I'll even have some of this just to kind of give that color in there. Okay, and I really want to make these more dramatic. I want to pop them out a little bit more. See, with this color here, it just looks more natural this way. Okay, I'll leave some of this light stuff, and then I'll go to some of this more saturated color. Kind of shows the light kind of bouncing off. Okay, in some ways. I'm going to go into some of this and get some burnt umber into that. Okay, just a little bit so the shadow color is not quite as dark. And I'm going to go into some of this here. Okay, to kind of show some stem kind of shadows happening here. Okay, a little bit of that, a little bit of this. Okay, something like that. And let's see. I also wanted to get some of that right in here. All right, something like that. I'm gonna go ahead and clean this brush off now. Get that light stuff out and all that other color. And I just wanna go now to just raw umber now. Okay, the darker brown there, just by itself alone. And let's see, I want to go these darker shadows in these areas here where the shadow's darkest. Okay, very little pressure with the brush. I don't want it as bright here because see, the light's hitting more right there. Okay, just a little bit, a little opening right here. Maybe a little bit more paint, but not much. Okay, definitely not as dark here as it is here, or not as dark here as it is here. Okay, you can see more dimension this way. All right, look at that, how it just lights that up. Just really brings that in. Okay, I'm going to go on top of some of this to kind of pet this down, show shadow over some of this. Okay, see, like that. Boom, it just really brings us out of here. All right, super good like that. And let's see, let's get another one right here. All right, so much detail, so much texture coming alive now. These little things, they really take this off. Okay, something like that. Let's get some of that dark shadow popping here. Okay, let's also get some of this too. And let's see, I'm gonna get a little bit of this, and let's get a little orange into that. Okay, just a teeny bit of color or paint on the brush. And I just kind of want to show somewhat of a shadow here, but see, it's not going to be dark because it's really getting hit by light right here. So see, these guys here will be something like that, okay, in the light. Okay, just kind of something like that. One thing I'd like to do, I'm just going to take a little bit of burnt umber. Okay, just a little bit. This is just to go something of a small little shadow here. Very light pressure with the brush. I just want to create the illusion of just a little texture here, even though it's blurred out. Okay, something like that. See, not as in focus as some of this detailed stuff. Definitely out of focus here. Way out of focus out there. So I like these pictures where you play with the in and out of focus features and you make more or less dramatic between one and the other as you come forward. It really just kind of pops it out of there. It does some really cool stuff. Okay, so one thing I'd like to do real quick before I get to the bubble, I want to take some blue and some raw umber, and I want to go titanium white. Okay, for that watercolor. Okay, a little bit more raw umber to gray that down just a little bit more. Okay, let's see. Yeah. Okay, something like that. Get that color again. I want to go in here and I want to cover this up and poke some holes again and do it again. And that's okay, because watch, with acrylics, you can do anything you want to do at any time. I could even leave it like that maybe. Okay, so just leaving a few things here. Okay, so here's what I want to do now. I want to clean this brush off, and I'm going to stick with that same number 2 nylon flat brush. I'm going to go back to some of this raw umber and some phthalo blue, okay, for that very dark black here, this made black. Okay, really dark Payne's gray. Here we go, something like that. Now I want to go back in here, and I just kind of want to change this up. I want to go maybe, and let's see, there's another one maybe right here. I just wanted to change this up a little bit. Okay, just show some different stuff happening. Okay, so while this dries, you can see it's kind of reacting. It's not as dark as this, because it's reacting with this light value. So I'm gonna let that dry. I'm gonna make a few more bubble things here and there freehand. Okay, just kind of do some more things. I'm gonna take, let's see, some burnt umber, and I'm gonna take a little yellow just to warm that brown up. Let's get a little white into that now. Okay, so something kind of like this, maybe a little bit more burnt umber to darken that just a bit. Okay, something like this. Yeah, nice warm brown. And what I want to do is I want to go up here and do something like this. There's going to be one up here that's out of focus. Okay, just getting a lot of that paint off the brush. And I just want to do something like this, okay? And I can cover up this brown to any degree, okay? Just going to go and start something like that. Let's see, I'll even take it up here just to kind of show the whole thing. Okay, just getting that bubble laid in there. Let's make another one, I don't know, right here maybe. Okay, a little shadow for it that's going to be right here. Okay, I'm just placing these wherever. And let's see, I'm going to go a bigger one right here. Okay, however. And to be honest, this part of the leaf here, I want it out of focus actually. So what I want to do is actually grab a little bit more of that background of the burnt umber, or sorry, raw umber and phthalo blue. Okay, something. And let's see, I'll make this part out of focus here too. So just gonna scratch this broken line like this, see this? Okay, breaking this line up, making it fuzzy like this, like it's blending into the background. See that? Now some of the edge of the leaf is getting lost into the background. That's exactly what's going to give it that out of focus. See, just like that. Okay, so with that same value, I'm going to go in here again. And with this paint now being dry, as you can see, okay, I can apply these in here really good. Yeah, I can come in here and break some of this line right here with that, with this weird shape. I don't know. Okay, something like that, I guess. Always cover up something if it's not right. Okay. Alright, something like that. I'm going to go ahead and clean this brush now. Okay, so with my script liner brush, I'm going to take lots of water. I'm going to go into some titanium white. I'm going to go into some of this color with that white. Okay, I'm going to pull through as I turn it to a point. And I want to go in here, and I just want to do some of these little things here. Okay, just kind of shows little water sparkling things happening here maybe. Okay. Want to go back to these bubbles here and start doing all the things. So I'm going to go back to my number 2 nylon flat brush here. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go just titanium white. I'm going to start filling in the areas that are the brightest here. So like right here. Okay, just kind of filling these things in. Let's see, I'm going to go right here, knocking some of that brown back, as you can see here. And let's see, I'm gonna get just this general color here, this white blocked in right here. Okay, see that? And also right here, knocking some of this brown on the bottom here down just a little bit. Okay, and also down here like this. All right, let's see. Okay, a little striker on top to show more of it. And I'm also going to make one by hand right here. I'm going to go something like this. It's going to be one in the foreground that's all blurred out. Let's see, I'll do that. And I'll come up here and let's see, I'll strike something inside of it right there. Okay, bear with, I know. It looks lovely, a lovely mess. All right, let's see. Okay, lots of water drops on them. All good, isn't that nice? Okay, so I'm gonna go some raw umber and burnt umber. I didn't clean my brush, all good. Okay, just a little bit of that paint, and very, very little paint on the brush. I just wanna scratch in right here and blend this into the white and into the orange just a little bit in both directions, right where the orange and this white meet with this dark value. Okay, get that bokeh look going. Okay. Okay, kind of something like that. Just kind of off in the distance. Okay, a little bit darker shadow right here. See that? Okay, there we go. There's one there, and I'm just going to run this dark value now into these other water drops here to get them more defined here. Okay. Okay, just getting those shadows in there where they go. Okay, so a little bit of paint left on the brush. I want to make this one blurred out and bokeh, so I'm just going to stir this up just a little bit right here. Okay, just kind of like that. Focus, I mean. Okay, so you can see here hard lines. Okay, that's all it is. Hard lines, soft blended lines. And you've got your story clear to the eye. And people go, man, how did you make that look out of focus like that? That's it. That's how. Just like that. All good. Super simple. Anybody can do it. Here's how you do it. And you got this. You got this. Okay, adding more white. Okay, you can see it's kind of washed out here with that first coat that I put down on these. Okay, little strikers up top, you got to have those. I'll even kind of glaze over some of that just to kind of show some light hitting. Okay, same thing over here. I'm going to glaze over. Just kind of shows light kind of bouncing off of that a little bit. Okay, and one thing too I'd like to do, I'm going to take a little bit of red and yellow and burnt umber. Okay, just a bit. And one thing I'd like to do is right here, I want to put some of that stem color over here. Okay, something like this. To kind of show the stem coming through or reflecting there, okay? Just like that. And while I'm at it with this same value, I'm going to fill this in. I forgot about this little guy here. Okay, can't forget about him. Okay, a little stem right here. Okay, something like that. Okay, and no cleaning. I'm just going to take a little white because, as you know, got to have some striking highlight in here. Okay, something like that. I'm going to leave that without cleaning. I'm just going to take some burnt umber, Okay, very little paint on the brush. And I just want to go right here where this orange and this white meet. Okay, a little bit heavier down here. Okay, just kind of petting this out on both sides here. Okay, just to kind of show that out of focus kind of feature there. Okay. Again, some more titanium white. I'm going to go up here. Okay, in a bokeh-like kind of way. See, I'm kind of going that circular motion here. That tells us that this is out of focus. Okay, a little bit there. And okay. Now I just want to get some raw umber phthalo blue. Okay, for my dark value again. And I just want to critique some of this. Okay, there we go. Now we're looking more like a bubble right in there. Okay, so what I want to do now is I want to add some color into that. I'm just going to get some burnt umber, a little yellow just to warm it up, some titanium white for a very light muted brown. Okay, it's kind of warmed up a little bit. And let's go in here. Just want to add this color in here with that. Okay, all right, something like that. And I'll go ahead and clean this brush off now. And I just want to pick up a little bit more white. I want to go in here. Okay, another coat. And I don't want to take over all that faded color. Okay, I want this out of focus. So again, these blends. Okay, just like that, something like that. And I'm going to go right here. And again, not take over all that color. Okay, something like that. Okay, now our nice big awesome detailed bubble. Let's get to that. And for that, I'm going to take some raw umber and some titanium white. Okay, just a teeny bit. Maybe a little red to that, just a little bit. Okay, something like this. Okay, kind of a maroon kind of value here. I want to start up here and I want to go like this. Okay, strike this up top with this little maroon kind of striker. Okay, just to start with. Okay, something like that. I'm going to clean that brush. I just wanted to get the top established there. Take a little bit of this raw umber now, just straight up. And right here where it's going to have some dark value. Okay, I'm just going to sort of map this out a little bit. Okay, just kind of something like that. Okay, just kind of getting that drawn in a little bit. And then I'm going to clean that brush now. And what I'd like to do now is get some orange. I want to take some of this that I made into it. Okay, so I don't want it super orange, but I do kind of want it vibrant. Okay, so maybe kind of like this. It kind of goes back to this right here. Remember I had too much orange in there. So let's put too much orange in this since this dried out and I can get that value back. And I'm thinking maybe a little bit more of this. Okay. It's not super vibrant. Let's see. I want to keep with similar colors here. Okay, a little bit of yellow. Okay, perfect. Right here. Okay, just a little bit. Number 2 flat brush again. And I want to go in here and start, let's see, painting this in right here. I don't want to cover up my dark line here. See that I put in? Okay, something like that. So we got this leaf kind of sticking out into this. Okay, I'm just going to get general values where they go for the moment. And let's see, I want to go a little bit of red now into that same value that I was just using. Okay, maybe a little bit of this orange. Okay, something like that. And I want to do a little bit of a deal here. Okay, I don't know, another type of reflective kind of something happening in here. Okay, I don't know. All right, let's clean that brush off. See, I want to get my dark value again. Let's go for that raw umber and phthalo blue again. Okay, for that Payne's gray, darkest value in the piece. Okay, something like that. Okay, I want to block in this area with this. And I actually want to thin this maroon line out there a little bit. It got a little thick on me, so see this? Anything you want to fix, anything you want to change. Change it, fix it, do your thing. Okay, something like that. We're gonna build some reflections here. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and clean this brush. I'm gonna go. Let's see, some of this orange, maybe a little bit of red. Okay, something like that. Something more vibrant and kind of brilliant, but let's see. Let's go. And I want to leave some of this white, just a teeny bit of it. Okay, I want to bring this down alongside of it, just barely letting that show. Okay, and I'm going to end it right there. Okay, I don't know, something right there that's kind of reflecting. Okay, I'm going to get that red off my brush. I'm going to clean it off real quick. All right, and I'm going to start playing, let's see, some different values on the leaf here to show the reflections of that. So I'm going to go some raw umber and some of this orange. Okay, some of this value here. And I want to play and dance that around in here. See this? Okay, just like that. I'm going to grab a little bit more of this orange. Maybe some of that with it, okay? Just a little bit. All right, and I want to add in just some of this vibrant orange stuff, just a little bit here and there. Okay, just kind of something like that. Maybe some of that in here. Okay, I'm going to clean that off. I'm going to take a little bit of yellow now. And let's get a little white to that, okay? Maybe a little bit of this orange to it, but not much, just mostly yellow. Let's see. Okay, something like that. And I want to hit some of this highlight stuff in here, okay? Just a little bit. Maybe a little bit more yellow. Okay, just getting some shine and pop. I'll even place some of that in here just a little bit, okay? Not much, just a little bit, okay? And while I have this color on my brush, I'm just going to go ahead and play this little value in right here. I don't know, a little something. Okay. Something like that. And now what I want to do, I want to take a little bit of blue, I want to get some raw umber, a little bit of white. Okay, a little bit more blue. And let's see. There we go. Just kind of muted down a little bit with that brown. Okay, a little white to lighten it up and desaturate a little bit. I want to play some of that in here. Okay. With that similar value, I want to go in here, and this is my number 2 flat again. I'm going to make these shapes here, or a shape, I should say. Kind of like this. And let's see, I'm going to go down like this with it, curve it. Okay. Take a little of this raw umber. Okay, I want to dab in some texture here and there. Okay, just like this, kind of break up this value a little bit. Okay, something like that. Maybe put some of that in here. I don't know. Okay. All good. I'm going to take my script liner brush again. I'm going to go into lots of water. And I'm going to pick up some of this color, but I'm going to take more white to that, so it's a lot more desaturated. Okay, a lot lighter of a color there. Okay, so something like this. I'm going to pull through as I turn it to a point. And I want to go in here and kind of do these little things. See this? Bubbles have these little things going on in here. Okay, just like that. See that? Okay, maybe there's some bigger ones, smaller ones, make them different sizes, just kind of going over the whole thing. Right in this dark area especially. I want to go back to my number 2 flat brush. And I'm going to take, let's see, some of this value again. And one thing I'd like to do is go up here and do this. Okay, I'm going to make another bubble kind of happening through this to kind of show a bubble in it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and clean that brush. And now just back to pure titanium white. Okay, like that. And I'm going to go under here like so. And I'm going to do a little bubble inside of a bubble here. See that? And while I have this on my brush, I'm also going to do something like that. I'm just going to sort of fade into some of this a little bit. See, like this. Okay. And let's see, I'm going to get some of this on here. Okay. Okay, something like that. And what I want to do now is I want to get a little bit more of this value here. It's got a little bit of that blue and raw umber on it. Okay, a little bit too much raw umber. Let's see, let's get a little bit more blue into that. Okay, I want a little bit of a blue hue. There we go. Something like that again. Okay, and I want to go kind of over some of this. Okay, you can see through it a little bit. And it just kind of does this thing here. Okay, putting some of that color in there. Let's see, let's put some of that in here. All right, I'm gonna clean this brush again. And let's see, I'm gonna go back to that raw umber and phthalo blue. Okay, I want to go in here and knock some of this back here. A bubble effect there. Okay, I'm going to knock some of this back too, this white. Okay, more like that. See that? That looks better. I like that. Okay, now cleaning that brush again, I'm just going to take some titanium white and let's really ramp this up. I'm going to take this right here and boom. Really, really bright reflection right here. Just barely petting the canvas. I'm not letting this be as bright as up there. Okay, a little less paint. It's not as opaque. And it just kind of gives a different value in a way that way. Now with just paint left on the brush, very, very, very little paint on the brush, I'm going to do this right here. Watch this. That just kind of gives it a haze. Shows that it's kind of light playing off of this a little bit, maybe, yeah. Okay, I went ahead and signed, as you can see here, and on the bubble, I just worked a few more values in of the same colors I was already using. Just knocked back some of this white and added some things. So there it is. Let me know down in the comments how this went, and any questions you have, I'll do my best to answer anything. And if you're new, please subscribe. That really helps me to keep bringing these videos and this content to you guys. And I thank you so very much. And with that, I want to wish you guys very well, a happy fall and happy painting to you.